Hello and welcome to another Daily Muppet. In today's video, we're going to talk about a new bid for Rasmus Hojlund on the verge of going in, what that bid will look like. Talk about the same thing we talk about all the time, which is also Sofian Amrabat and where things stand with that, as United do intend, as I understand it, to move forward with a deal for him potentially, but we'll talk about it in detail. I want to talk about copy Mainoo. I want to talk about some of the sales, and I want to talk about Las Vegas with the final game upcoming, where I'll be in attendance. So let's get into it. Okay, so first and foremost, the Rasmus Hojlund bid. As I was told yesterday morning, that new contacts were set to take place, and Fabrizio Romano's tweeting that these talks between intermediaries are set to occur. Well, I don't think he said between intermediaries, but it's between intermediaries or representatives on behalf of both clubs that are set to take place today. That's kind of how things have gone. United are pushing very aggressively on this. So a couple of pieces of information that I have here. Number one, Erik ten Hag is pressing for a conclusion on this deal even prior to the end of preseason. He would like to have Rasmus Hojlund in next week to have him on the bench and able to be getting integrated into the squad even by the Lens game. So I think that's next Saturday. So he would like to have him in by about Wednesday or Thursday next week. And there has been communication over seeing if that becomes possible. So that is what Erik ten Hag is pushing for. He is strongly pushing for this deal on Rasmus Hojlund and that United get it done. He definitely believes that a striker is, he said it many times publicly, but he's pushing very strongly behind the scenes. John Murtaugh's there. They're talking all the time. They want to get this done for him. They really want to get this done for him. They really do. And that is their intention, is to get this done. So talks will be going on today, tomorrow, with the intention to wrap this deal up next week and potentially even before the Lens game. I'm not saying that will happen. Similar to Onana, as I mentioned, don't worry so much about the timing. It'll happen when it happens. But they are pushing to try and get it done quicker. At the same time, they cannot and will not be paying like 75, 80 million euros, some of the numbers that are going out there. As I understand it, the second offer that's being discussed or that is being looked at on United's side that will go into discussions today is more in the range of between 55 to 58 million euros upfront. So a decent increase on that upfront fee with about 7 to 10 in add-ons, more towards a total of about 65 million euros. So United moving up a bit more total, maybe a bit more upfront, not just the extra 5, but a bit more upfront. And there's going to be some flexibility in that, but they want to have that on the table with this discussion with Atalanta or on behalf of Atalanta today to see if they can come to some kind of compromise around 65 million euros as a total package. That's what they're going to be discussing. Obviously, it's subject to the discussions that go on today, how that goes and the terms and things like that. But that's what United want to lay out on the table and see if they can get done. They think it's a very fair deal for Hojlund. They think that their first offer showed that they're serious, that they're the most serious candidate. They have terms agreed with him. He wants to make the move. He is pushing. He's asked Atalanta to negotiate only with Manchester United at this point in time to see if they can wrap up a deal. And only if it were to fall through would PSG really be involved in the situation. So it looks good. It looks positive. Very likely to happen. Timing, again, it's always like, don't worry about it because it's United. Even if they they have this kind of offer that's set up and they reach some sort of agreement on what could be done, that's going to have to go back to Murtaugh. It's going to have to go back to the top to be signed off on by Joe Glazer, hopefully while they're still in the U.S. And that might be a part of, one of the things that they're trying to do here is say, could we get this deal kind of set up where we know the terms, where while we're still in the U.S., we could have a call with Joe Glazer, we're on the same time frame, same time zone, game there. Maybe one of the Glazers will be in attendance at Las Vegas. It's possible. And just get it approved easier. It might be easier doing a deal that way. That's just me speculating, though. I don't know. But they definitely are pressing ahead to try and get this done in the range of 65 million euros. They think it's fair. They think Atalanta should move a little to come down to that fee. But there's some flexibility here. United don't intend to miss out, and they have some movement available, and they are the only real serious candidate in terms of an acceptable bid right this moment. But it still has to happen, and today's meeting I think will be very crucial on that for Atalanta to show that they're willing to move on that price to get a little bit closer, and then negotiations can occur. Similar, obviously, to Mason Mount, where it was like 65, 70 million pounds. They went way lower, all of that. They really wanted Chelsea to say, are you going to move on this at all? And in the end, then they would compromise too and pay a little bit more. So if they approach it with like a 55 plus 10, even if that's not enough, if Atalanta are like, okay, look, fine, we all want to get this deal done, give us 60 plus 5 and that'll do, then probably that gets a deal done. So let's see what happens following these talks today, but they are prepared to present a pretty good bid that they think would be acceptable for Atalanta in terms of a compromise. And then it would happen pretty quickly with the player joining, again, pushing to have him in even before the end of preseason if possible. Moving on to Sofyan Amrabat. So obviously, I've spoken a lot about Amrabat for a while now, and there's been a lot of reports about Amrabat for a while now that are going round and round and on different things. And, what we don't know here is there's been a lot of reports, okay, they're interested, they're talking, there's been reports of deal agreed, all of that, and it's not that advanced, but there's been enough dialogue between United and his agent to kind of understand the outline of what the terms of a deal would look like. They're very interested in it. As I mentioned before, there's also Atletico in the mix. There's also potentially clubs in Italy in the mix. They do want to sign Sofyan Amrabat. Erik ten Hag sees the need for a midfielder. Erik ten Hag sees the need to bring somebody in. And so it's really going to be about wrapping up Rasmus Hojlund, knowing how much that they have, and then following that, once those deals are done, they're obviously working on these sales. They do have to sell before they can buy Amrabat. They do have to sell. Even Hojlund, they're kind of skipping ahead and buying with the idea that some sales are going to come through, like Dean Henderson, like Fred likely, and such. But for Amrabat, they're going to need these sales to happen in order to make that kind of purchase. They do intend to make it happen. They do want to sign him. There's a strong intention to sign him, but it is not advanced yet. They're not in detailed talks yet. They just understand kind of the terms that are on the table, and they need a sale to occur. But this one, I still think every day more and more, I think it looks like it's one that will happen in the end. A few more things have to go right for that to occur, and it could be late in the window, and certainly could be, and most likely would be after the season starts at this point in time. Talking about the McTominay sale, obviously one of the things that has been said is that West Ham are interested. There's talk of a fee of 45 million or something like that in that range. But West Ham are still interested, and they're looking at making potentially a bid for him and James Ward-Prowse, as Conor Gallagher is looking to stay at Chelsea. So that's probably the biggest key to the Amrabat deal, because you have Eriksen, you have Mainoo, who we'll talk about, you have Mount, Bruno, Casemiro. If you have McTominay too, it doesn't make any sense. He's going to be an unused asset if you buy Amrabat, who's not playing, who's not getting any minutes, who's not doing anything. So you really do need likely McTominay out to be able to fund this Amrabat sale, and he could fund the entire thing. So I don't think 45 million is realistic for West Ham, but if they can bring in an offer, 30, 35 plus some add-ons, then I think it will get done. There's a good chance of this. Moyes really likes him. Obviously, I'm not West Ham, ITK. There's good West Ham sources out there, and they claim that there's chances of this and that they're still interested. So, when they come back from the tour and after Rasmus Hojlund is wrapped up, I think United will start to be flexible on this sale, and this would be one to watch. It's kind of funny because I've always maintained that McTominay was for sale. When they said he's not for sale, they'd keep him, etc. He's always been for sale, but not for sale, because he's actually got a lot of value. And, he's someone where for United, he's not worth that much because he doesn't really fit. But he's homegrown, he's young, he's physical, he's big. He's a pretty good on ball. He has a lot of good qualities for certain types of teams in the Premier League and would be a good player at many types of teams in the Premier League for what they are trying to accomplish and the way they want to play. And in that vein, there's a lot of positives around him. He's a very smart player. He's someone coaches really like. And so these are all factors that come into it as well, that I do think make a difference. He's a professional. And that's what you can always say about McTominay as well. So I think that there's good chances that he could go and it would fund the Amrabat deal, but that's going to happen after the tour and after Rasmus Hojlund. Kabi Mainoo, he was included in the Las Vegas squad. Now, that obviously would indicate that he's not so injured. He had to be sent home, which I don't think would happen anyway. I don't know if that means he'll be playing or not. You know, Ahmad didn't play, I think, but he was in training and all of that. Am I misremembering? I don't think Ahmad played, did he, in the game? But either way, it looks like it's not that serious. We haven't received any further news. He's still in the squad. A few of the other young guys, Hannibal, etc. So I think we're going to get a good, strong starting 11 for 60 minutes and then some big changes after 60 again. But Kabi Mainoo is set to have a serious role this year. As I understand it, with his injury not being serious, he's definitely set for a serious role. And I think that also frees up the safety of being able to sell McTominay and bring in potentially Sofyan Amrabat, because they want Kabi Mainoo to play minutes. They've got Eriksen as a backup. They need one more. They do need one more if Fred is leaving. And so it's Scott or it's a replacement. But without him, they might not be looking to sell Scott. If Mainoo wasn't available, or there was a serious injury, or there are major concerns, that would affect transfer plans, because they would likely then need to keep one of Scott or Fred, and likely not, you know, that would make a purchase a bit more difficult in terms of funds and things like that. So it's looking pretty good for him. I expect he's going to play minutes, like Garnacho minutes next year. It's looking really good. And it sounds like there's no serious injury. So that would be really, really great news, because he was set to have a serious role next year. So that would be awesome, and it makes it more viable again for United to sell, to buy, and move ahead. And then obviously Las Vegas, the final game of the US tour here coming up. I wanted to just mention, you know, again, I will be there. I'll be at the United Convention Sunday morning. I'll be there for the match, and I'd like to meet anybody who, you know, wants to come. And then yeah, just obviously I'm new to this, but one of the things I'm going to be getting is I'm going to be having press access to this game as well, where I'll be able to go to the press box, and I don't know what else it'll entail, but I'll be able to do a lot of stuff with that. I'll have a media pass for the game, which is pretty cool, and it's pretty great how far things have come. But I'd like to know from any of you, if you want to leave in the comments and stuff, what kind of interesting content would you want me to film? I don't have the resources, professional camera stuff, anything like that, but I'll take a lot of videos, pictures. I'll, you know, video the events, meeting people, pictures, going in, parts of the game, whatever, and kind of maybe stitch it together to make a nice video on Monday of the whole thing as kind of a vlog or whatever you might want to call it. But is there anything in particular you would like me to try to do or accomplish that I can see if I can pull off? Because I'm going to be meeting a fair number of people. Yeah, any interesting ideas you have, just in case, you know, leave them in the comments and let me know. So to wrap this up, Rasmus Hojlund talks moving forward. United want him in quickly. Erik ten Hag wants him in quickly, even potentially before the end of preseason. Amrabat, they intend to press forward on it. There is interest from Atletico still, as I keep saying and have repeated the last few days, and it's not as advanced, and they need to sell first, but they do have strong interest in him. Mainoo's injury not being serious would be helpful for this, as it would more allow for the departures of Fred and Scott and Van de Beek to fund a move for Amrabat, while United still have the numbers in the midfield, and obviously the final game of the tour. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. See you in the next one.